Welcome to another episode of the Rhythm of the Road podcast. This podcast is not just about the journey, but also about the growth, transformation, and self-discovery that comes with life on the proverbial road. Grab a cup of joe, buckle up, and let's embark on a journey of self-discovery, creativity, and entrepreneurship. Let's get rolling.
All right, welcome back to this episode of Rhythm of the Road podcast. And not welcome back to the episode, but welcome back to this series of building your business through song. And today's episode is about harmony in your business. And I'm not talking about harmony as in we're going to sit Indian style on a beach on a blanket and do yoga poses and listening to singing bowls and very Zen music. Harmony is merely, from a musical standpoint, putting two or more things together that tonally make a sound. And we talk about harmony in terms of two different things, consonance and dissonance. Or you can think about it in tension, dissonance, or release, consonance. And in business or in life, we are constantly talking about this idea of tension and release. It's no different than when you're watching your favorite hero movie or watching your favorite action movie. Where are the pinnacle moments where you feel your anxiety rise? It's where it becomes very intense. Sonically, you're hearing very dissonant things, and all of a sudden the hero wins, or the battle concludes, or they get the girl, or somebody is saved and they make it through this miraculous thing. And all of a sudden the music opens up, the clouds spread apart, the sun comes out, the light is good, and you hear this beautiful, either sonorous or fanfare or anthemic kind of music. And it just makes you feel good. And that is the release. So we have this idea of tension and release, or dissonance and consonance. And it's really important to just understand that both are happening all of the time and that they're good. So if we're talking about harmony, and we just came from Pulse, where we talked about timing and being consistent and setting that tempo or that pacing for your business or your brand, as you're going through that, you're going to have these moments of creating some tension of okay, how much do I stack here? What kind of content do I make? Do I even make content? Well, the answer is yes. And you already knew that, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching this or listening to this. And as you're breaking through those moments of trying to figure out where you're going and where you're headed, you can take them as moments of harmony. Is this something that is feeling good? It feels right and it's moving towards, or is it creating some sort of tension? Are you having disagreements? Are you having arguments? Are you finding that customers are giving you feedback, whether it's criticism or positive critique? And though those language and those terms are very similar, they mean two very different things. And what you have the opportunity in those tension moments or the dissonant type of moments is you have an opportunity to grow. You have an opportunity to learn, and you need to take those opportunities and grow your business. So in lieu of not wanting to stop that pulse and not wanting to stop that tempo and pacing, we need to make sure we're working through those opportunities and taking those opportunities to release. Now, what are some opportunities you can use to release? This part of my business just didn't work. Take it away. There's no reason to force it. Or these clients aren't working for me. Great. Remove them from your business. Not all clients are good clients. And we don't always like to hear that, especially when we're starting out in business, because sometimes clients make us feel uncomfortable. Sometimes they're not our ideal clients. Sometimes they're just not a good fit for our business model. And that's okay. They can go away, because you want to know what? There's 10 more people, there's 20 more companies, there's 50 more clients that are out there waiting because they want your service and they need your service. And they're going to create that release of that tension from that one customer, and they're going to open your business wide up, and they're going to give you that option for release. So take those moments, take those opportunities to be how can I better this, right? And as we stack harmonies, we want to think about them as they'll have a chance to become more beautiful and more interlocked. And it's not quite so simple. We start with 2 harmonies, and then we have 3 voices and 4 voices and 5 voices, right? We stack, and now you're starting to hear something that's very orchestral like, or a big choir, or something that you've heard a million times on like a soundtrack. And you can hear how dense and how complicated they are, but it's how they all fit together. And as we grow in business and you're growing your brand, you need to be thinking about, how can I become in more harmony with my business and my brand and my clients and my services? And we start to move those harmonies in and out to find the right ones that become consonant. Now you're going to have to go through some of those dissonant moments and create that tension. And then as they release, you'll know what needs to stay and what needs to go. And that's how it's supposed to go. That creates the flow of your business. When we talk about songs and we create harmonies, typically there's only 3 to 5 chords in any song that you're listening to especially on a popular radio station. It might even be less. It might be 1 or 2 chords that you're listening to, but they found ways to stack things and bring in that tension so that when you go into a chorus or you go into a hook and it's this amazing harmony, and those are the words that you're remembering, those are the lyrics that you're singing, that's the hook that reminds you in your head, right? When your business is humming along, when you have the right services, when you're finding the right clients, when you're having the right opportunities, you're going to see that. And there's going to be just this beauty in harmony as all of those things are working together. And especially as they're working together with the right pulse and the right timing and the right amount of pacing as you're increasing or decreasing that speed. As you get longer into your business, so many times we're talking about the beginning of business or starting business or becoming an entrepreneur or becoming, a business owner that has a bunch of employees. What about at the end? What about when you want to start slowing it down? I've been talking to some friends that are exiting businesses. What does that look like? Well, that's a beautiful picture of harmony, because you've probably ramped up to a whole lot of dissonance and a whole lot of tension that was meant to be, so that you could release from that. And not just release as in leave or exit the business, but just release in a fact of like relaxation. Slow that tempo down. Where are you headed? What's the next thing? And maybe it's not to retire, like in the traditional, like I left my job, I'm no longer going to work sense, but I definitely have left this building, or I've left this business, or I've left this opportunity. That's a good thing. You don't have to stay there forever if you don't want to. So think about that. It's not just the beginning, it's also the end. And when we're talking about harmony, it's what gets us from one place to the next. It helps us know that there's something new coming. It helps us show like we have this tension so we can release it. Or if we've had too much release or too much consonance for too long, we might be getting stale in our business, or we might get stale in our services. So sometimes adding a little tension will create new ideas. It will spark new services. It might even open a door to a whole new set of clients that you didn't even know existed prior to, because you were just humming along, right? Sometimes steady tempo and steady harmony that just feels good all the time isn't always what helps with growth. I hear a lot of gurus, or I see all over social media, kind of like, get out of your comfort zone. Your growth zone is when it's the most uncomfortable. They might be cliche, but they're so right. And the same thing goes with this. There can't be growth in a song or direction in a song unless we have that little bit of tension or that little bit of dissonance. And we don't have to talk about complete disarray and complete like psycho knife, like that sound going on. We don't need to have that going on in our business, because that might be actually stressful and not healthy. But we're talking about just some dissonance, some disarray, so that you have a chance to find that harmony, find that release, and move on forward. So if you're liking what you hear, do me a favor, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. I'm just here sharing my stories, sharing a little bit of wisdom from the things that I've learned in the last 20 to 25 years in the music area and in the business space. And so if there's something else that you would like to hear, something else you would like to learn, please leave it in the comments, because I'm always looking for more topics, more themes, more ideas, because I'm not going anywhere. And even though this is episode 22 and we're early in our journey, we're past the 21 mark, which is a milestone in terms of podcasts. And well, I think we talked about milestones just a little bit back here. So think about that. Check out episode 20, because I'm pretty sure that you'll find out a little bit more about that. And I'll see you next week on another episode where we go into part 3, and we're going to talk about melody and what does that mean, and for that thing that you're constantly singing. Thank you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you investing in you. I'll see you down the road.
Thanks for cruising with me on this episode of Rhythm of the Road. Remember, the journey itself is the destination. Until next time, keep the rhythm flowing, and we'll see you down the road.